Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Michael, put your glasses on so you can see. All we got is the table and the board. Alright. So what I'm trying to do is just sort of lay those down and then peg out. Okay. Okay. And do it. Let's do it again. So it's what, 2 below. There you go. Okay.
I'm Sid Corpy. I play Administrator Ripley in Attack of the Moon Zombies. And my association with Christopher Mihm is a little unusual. I used to proofread for the Southwest Journal, and I read a story about him having created, I think it was Cave Women on Mars at the time. And I read about this guy who loved these old movies, and I'm into nostalgia as well. And he had decided to do this movie for 2 reasons. One, to honor his father who had passed away, so he named his production company Alfred George Productions, and I thought that was really neat. And then also because his stepdaughter Liz had been battling cancer, and 5-year survival, yes! But he just looked at that and said, you know, there's no reason to put this off. I have to pursue this dream. And I could really relate to that, having kind of gone through a huge tsunami of loss myself. And it makes you look at life in a whole different way. So, that being said, we went to the premiere of Cave Women on Mars, and it was so deliciously, wonderfully, awfully bad and wonderful and cheesy that I just said, I have to have something to do with a Christopher Mihm movie before I die. That's it. So I decided to stalk him, which actually only meant sending him an email. But, you know, it sounds better if you say you stalked him. I sent him an email. I downloaded a photo of my high school acting trophy and wrote, "Proof I'm talented," and invited him to a play I was doing at the time, The Mousetrap. And I just told him flat out, I said, I'll be your prop mistress, I'll play a dead body, an extra, whatever. I have to. I was just so drawn to this. And he putzed for about a month, but he finally got back to me and said, yeah, sure, we'll meet. Because I also lured him a little bit, because our 3rd floor of our house has been transformed into a 50s malt shop, and we teach beginning social dance there. And I read in the story that he likes to write his movies to places he knows he can film, as opposed to having to, you know, create a set or scrounge a place to do the shots. So I said, why don't you come and see that? So for security, he brought Dan Shervin along. He was one of the stars of Cave Women on Mars. And they just spent 3 hours at our house laughing, getting to know us, and deciding that if he ever writes his Canoe Cops movie, I can play Gustav's harpy wife. I think a precedent was set at that point. I've done theater off and on for 30 years. So I had just gotten back into theater and had done The Mousetrap, and subsequent to that I did The Underpants by Steve Martin, and real recently Father of the Bride, where I played the mother. And then in real life, I performed the wedding ceremony for my daughter in the play. So there's all sorts of serendipity and lots of noisy people walking through this set. Oh, Ripley's gonna rip you a new one, baby. So I knew I had, you know, some acting chops, I hope, and that I wouldn't probably embarrass him if I... Okay, who am I kidding? Of course I'm going to embarrass him and myself. He gets, you know, he's normally fairly nice, but, you know, when you're working and he says, are you ready for your close-up? And you're like, oh crap, I think I have a zit. And then he says, remember, your head's going to be 90 feet tall on that drive-in screen. The man is pure evil. Run, scream, don't have anything to do with his movie, because you might take away a role I could have.
Okay. My name's Anthony Kaiser, and I saw a Christopher Mihm film in the newspaper. It was going to be coming up at the Heights Theater, and it was a big opening of the cave women on Mars. So I asked my wife, I said, we should go to this. This looks kind of fun. And so we did, and we just fell in love with what was going on, the people. Christopher Mihm was there. We bought some patches. And so as we were there, my wife was like, we have to get involved with this. I mean, we're kind of crazy people like that do things.
Rob, come stand over here, because from this shot I get just your feet. Can you sit up, just in case?
Yeah, sure.
What are your feet's motivation?
Yep.
Motivation.
To not smell up the room.
Thank you. That's a good motive.
Okay. Give it some time for a dissolve. Do it. You just skunked me, did you not? I believe you just skunked me. I have been skunked. Uno mas, and then we're done. Well, then we can do audio, but then we're done with it.
Do you want to take the shot for the next scene that we're coming in and the game continues? The one that you're filming on the 24th, it opens with a still doing deal. I just wondered if you wanted, since you've got the lighting the way you like it.
24th?
Oh, sorry, next 27th.
Okay,
Sorry.
I was like, what else were we filming?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a thought. Since you got it the way you like, you can.
No, it's all right because there's a big jump of time where they go off and we see other stuff. So you guys will be on totally different games by that
Okay.
point.
Alrighty.
Also, since we have this shot, I mean, we can use it.
Well, the newest film is there's quite a cast in it. There's a lot of people, and with the back to the 50s kind of thing, which I love anyway, that kind of 50s thing, and I grew up back then with the drive-ins and those kinds of things. This will be one of those movies that has the back to the 50s, and yet it still has a little bit of the kind of stuff from the movies. When they made them in the 50s, they didn't know anything about the movies from the 70s and 80s and those kinds of things with, the Star Wars-y kinds of things and that. So in his movies, there might be things that kind of feel that, but made back in the 50s. So it's kind of neat how that all comes together. And I can't really think as far as how he creates them and everything. The things that they were able to do back then compared to being able to do now. So when he makes the movies, it's like he has all this technology of now, and so imagine if they had that back in the 50s. And yet he has to make a movie from the 50s that looks like it's made with the technology from then and not from now. So it's kind of a neat thing seeing how he creates that.
Well, one of the unique things about Attack of the Moon Zombies is my hair. We actually went to see War of the Worlds, and I spent the entire time looking at the screen going, how did she do those bangs? How did she do those bangs? And then Chris said, I've always wanted someone to wear their hair that way. So I went home and experimented and so forth. So if you're into doofy hairdos, this is the movie for you. It's also got a really sprawling cast and fantabulous monster effects by that artistic genius, Mitch Gonzalez. Oh, we've seen it and we're all Twitter-pated about that. It's pretty terrifying. And it's got, the plot itself is pretty remarkable. There's character development. There's pathos. There's comedy. There's drama. There's intrigue and action and monsters. And plus I made pie for everyone. But sorry, you won't get any of that. But the camera guy's happy.
Thank you for the interview. Thank you for everything that you've done for Mihmiverse, and we look forward to seeing you at the premiere.
I hope so. You will not be disappointed.
Thank you.